Crafting has always been part of what I do. So I started crochet when I was about 5, and then I just keep collecting crafts along the way. Then I started knitting, paper crafting, quite young. So it's just something I do. And when I give gifts, it's usually handmade gifts. As I make friends, I also encourage my friends to start making things.
Craft Atelier came up when we started to teach like freelance. It was part-time. Like in 2008, we were like, okay, because our friends all say, hey, why don't you just teach lah, like school, because we're teachers. School holidays, just go and teach like workshops to whoever wants to learn. It wasn't a registered business, but we just needed a name for the business. The Chinese name is the one that has a bit more of
more meaning.
deliberate meaning to it. Like we actually thought very hard about it. Craft means like 手艺. I played around with the words a bit, tried to make a logo. Then my husband just said, like, why don't you change it from 艺术的艺 to 意思的意? And the whole purpose of enjoying crafting is because there's a meaning to it. Like when you hand make something for somebody, there's a lot more meaning than buying it. So his point is, instead of 艺术的艺, why don't you use 意思的意? It sounds the same, so you still get your 手艺坊 or 手艺坊, but there's like a pun to it, like a word pun to it. So that was the only, I think that's the most creative part of it.
Yeah.
Actually, our focus is we want to enable everybody to craft. Anybody, whatever your
Interest,
your attitude may be, we would want to have one sort of craft for you. Because paper crafting is something where
potentially,
yeah.
in 15 minutes, you can have something done.
But if you wanted to work with fiber, like you wanted to knit or you want to crochet, weave or spin, then that takes time because that creation process is slow. Like if you want to knit, you are making it, whether it's any of them, you're making it bit by bit, stitch by stitch. And so that's for someone who already self-professed to not have so much patience. Then we would say, start with something else first.
Or start something small.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to knit a sweater as your first project. That's really giving yourself trouble. How about knitting a cord organizer for your headphones? That's a small strip of fabric that you could knit. It doesn't take more than maybe 2 hours, and you could be done with it.
Yeah, versus your left side.
I know, I was looking at it, I was like, okay, clearly I'm not doing good on this side.
But that is because you have your dominant hand. When you pull, you have more control. So when you pull and tug, you have more control over this side.
Yeah.
This side. You just need
And
a
to some
more
people, they might actually want to have the equipment. So we also wanted to make sure we offer crafts where, like, it's not like I bait you and then there's no way you can continue this on your own unless you come to me. So we also wanted to give that option. You can don't own and come to us, or if you really just want to continue to explore on your own, I will be able to link you up to somewhere to get it. But when you start to teach crafting as a business, then it becomes very different. Like, because you actually have to think about the kind of learners you have, like the kind of materials that work well for them. Because with yourself, if it's challenging, it's okay. You know, like if it's challenging, you just like, okay lor, then like either I move on to a new material or I try to do something else. But when you work with, like, when you change it into a business, like even if you teach your friends and then there's a mistake, you can always like, never mind lah, then we just revisit everything. That's okay. But when you change it into a business, I think there's a lot more deliberate planning in place. The big challenge for us is our 脸皮不够厚. Yeah. So actually in a lot of crafting groups, where we always see people advertise their like business, like their yarn sales, their classes, then I always look at her, she look at me like, very paiseh, right? We post our own things.
Like, we teach this, come to us.
Then we're like, a bit paiseh, right? Then we, and then the next thing we know, the opportunity has passed. Then we're like, darn, we need to be better the next time around.
I'm very happy about that. Costing me a cent.
For this is when we first started in 2008. So we thought, we taught, and then we put in a lot of effort into designing curriculum. We had supplies, we ran out classes. And then I had my first kid, so I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, and then time became very limited. Like you just didn't have enough time between a full-time job, taking care of a very young kid, and trying to do this at the site, and having all the supplies at my house. So when I was expecting my second child, then my mom looked at me and she said, you know, I think something has to go. Like you can't balance so many things, and all your craft supply is also taking up a lot of space in the house, which you actually need for the things for the kids. So at that point, then I told Helen, okay, I think I might have to take a step back from crafting. Like, so I gave up the business portion to her. I also, then after a couple of years, I realized I didn't have time to craft. Okay, don't even talk about teaching crafting. I don't even have time to craft by myself anymore because you just don't have free time when you have a very young family. So I started to give away my personal craft supplies. Then in 2016, I moved to the US briefly because my husband was doing his master's. So I moved to the US and I lived in a city where crafting was very big. And I was very fortunate that all the parents of my children's friends in school were crafters. Like some of my best friends in America were like, they'll make candles to sell near Christmas and stuff like that. So when they found out that, hey, actually, you craft quite a bit, right? In the past, I was like, yeah, I do have these hobbies. They're like, then go to class, revisit those interests. I'm like, no, you know, I have kids, I have this, I have to like do all of these. And they're like, no, you should find time for yourself. Also, fortunately, at where I stayed, there were a lot of craft studios where you could just go in, pay. So you didn't need to own all these supplies. You just had to go and then use the supplies and then walk out. So then it made me think to myself, like, what if I had this in the last 6 years when I gave up crafting? What kind of difference would that have made to my life? So I was like, you know, like, let's just do it lah. Like, just take the risk and do it so that we also can say we have no regrets. Because I was very clear, I told her that 10 years, in another 10 years time, I think we'll both be thinking about saving up for retirement. We wouldn't want to take that kind of risk anymore.
I think for artisans, they are so focused on that one thing that they do that they probably are experts in their own circle. But for us, because we jump from craft to craft as our interest calls us, it's very difficult to know everything about that one thing. So we are more jack of all trades than
The real masters in that sense. That's the mindset that we operate on here, which we agree is very non-traditional and very sometimes difficult for people to understand. But I think,
What do you do? Everything.
yeah, but I think that's what really makes us different. Like we've had advice from people that maybe we should specialize because it's easier to market yourself when you specialize. But that's not us. And if we wanted to do this for a very long time, then we want it to represent who we are.
Action!